Hey there, I'm Tomas Michaud from Real Guitar Success. Today, we're going to talk about a subject that, quite frankly, is dear to my heart. How to learn guitar for older beginners. And even though I've been playing guitar for years, I consider it one of the biggest benefits to my life to be able to go out and learn new things, except that it's scary and go for it anyway. And this is something I really want to be able to help others with. Let's do it. One of the first things is to make sure you got a guitar that's going to sound good when you play it right. Now, I've had many students who came in with a guitar that didn't really work right, or they got it from a friend or at a flea market or online somewhere, and it just didn't sound good no matter what we did with it. The thing is, you're bound to get discouraged. If you've been practicing and you play something and it doesn't sound good, even if your fingers are in the right place, you're going to get discouraged and you're going to want to quit. Then you're dead in the water. Get a guitar that works. It doesn't have to be super expensive, but don't go for something that's just cheap thinking that you'll get something better when you deserve it. It doesn't really work that way. You're going to get to deserve it, so to speak. You're going to get to a place where you can play and enjoy it by having an instrument that supports you. For a lot of students, that's somewhere in the $200 to $300 range for a new guitar, and maybe less if you can find a used one. The trick is, though, finding a used one that does work right and knowing that. Sometimes you got to get help from a professional or somebody else who knows how to play the guitar. So you got your guitar. You probably know you're going to practice. Well, here's the thing. It's not always that easy to get yourself to practice. And one of the ways you can support yourself there is to make a space to practice and set it up so that it's comfortable. I mean, you got your stuff there, your guitar, maybe your picks, your guitar tuner, a nice chair, whatever it takes for you. I like to have a music stand and a little footstool as well. That may or may not be what you need. But the key is that you feel comfortable, and when you sit there, you feel ready to practice. And that's part of the trick, is that you got a space that's supporting you to practice. You sit there, your mind goes into practice gear. And that takes a lot of the friction away from, should I practice now? Or, I have to set up, or I have to get my guitar out and tune it up and find my tuner. No, that's going to put a damper on your practice. So while we're talking about your environment, your practice space, here's something that a lot of people don't think about and gets them in the long run. Think about the people you're living with. If every time you go to practice, you're interrupting somebody watching TV or bothering somebody, you're going to be shy to practice, especially if they start grumbling about it. First of all, try and get their support. If people care about you, they want you to do things that are good for yourself. Explain to them that I really want to do this and enlist their support, enlist their encouragement. You might even ask them to, hey, could you nudge me if you don't see me practicing, or something to that effect, depending on your relationship, of course. And talk to them about I'm going to be practicing. What's a good time? Can we work out something every day? I'll do it here, and I don't want to bother your TV or whatever else you're doing. That way you've got their support and encouragement instead of feeling like you're just intruding on them, which in turn is going to backfire on you. And if you're willing, you can take it up a notch by getting support from, let's say, like-minded friends. What I do when I want to be successful at something is I'll go to a friend that I know that can relate to what I'm doing. Either they're that type of person that wants to help people grow, or they're doing something similar. They know why I would want to do that. And I'll say, hey, Bill, I want to learn to do this, and I know you've supported me in the past. Can you check in with me once a week and see if I'm practicing or I'm keeping my practice schedule? This is an area that's often overlooked and does backfire on people. Look to see how the relationships in your life can be used to support you in something you want to do, as opposed to kind of fighting against it. The next tip is something I have a lot of personal experience with. As we get older, it really pays to pay attention to your body and what you're doing so that it works for you. Now, what I mean by that is, first of all, your hands. You're going to get sore more easily than when you were younger. At least that's the way it is for me, and what I hear from my other students as well. So start your practice sessions with stretching. I like to do a couple of stretches that I found very helpful for my fingers. See, I've had a lot of friends that have actually been put out of business, at least for a while, from problems with their fingers. So I know that was something I needed to pay attention to. And I'll find myself, if I don't warm up, everything just feels hard and not not fun. And while I mentioned warm up, there are other ways to warm up besides stretching. After stretching, you want to do an exercise before you get into whatever you want to practice. In other words, a basic warm up exercise. I have several on my blog, and I always recommend students to start with the simplest one first. But by warming up, it makes practice easier and more fun and feel like you accomplish more. It also helps protect your body so that you're not sore or get out of commission for a while and have an excuse not to practice. The other area I have a lot of experience with is my back because sitting down playing guitar for a long time definitely caught up to me. I'll tell you now, there's no absolute way to prevent from getting a sore back, but it helps if you keep your posture upright when you're practicing. Yeah, you gotta look down at your guitar, but just don't stay that way. Look down and then sit back up. Look down and sit up. Practice for short sessions and then get up and move around. I like to stretch. I do some stretches and sit down and practice more. Practice for shorter sessions. It'll help as opposed to long drawn out sessions and then you're sore and don't want to practice for several days. If you pay attention, you'll figure out what's right for you. The key here is to pay attention and to keep coming back and paying attention. Maybe you need some reminders. Say, hey, hon, could you remind me if you see me slumping down? That's worked for me a little bit. I don't know how many times I've heard, I'll sit here and fumble around with books and random YouTube videos until I get good enough and then I'll get some real instruction. No! You need it most when you're first starting out. This is when you need something step by step with an instructor who knows how to explain things and can help you gain some sense of confidence and some basic skills that you can grow on. I'm not knocking YouTube videos, and I've used lots of books as well. But this is not the same as a guided step-by-step instruction program. And I don't care if it's online or in person. Nowadays, online is great if you have a good instructor that knows how to put materials in an orderly, systematic fashion and explain things in a clear, organized way. Don't undervalue yourself and your desire to play music. And you're doing that when you don't get the instruction that would really support you. And deep inside, you know this. I knew it when I was fumbling around, just learning little tips and tricks from friends and saying I really want to learn guitar, but not doing anything concrete to get a systematic program going. And nowadays, lessons are more available than ever. Yeah, it's pretty expensive one-on-one in person, and there's some problems with that too. I interview a lot of instructors from my music school, and I can tell you a lot of them aren't really very good at instructing. They just play guitar good and they want to make some money. But you can make good decisions. You're an adult. You can be responsible for finding somebody that has the experience, that has the material that seems organized, that can understand and express things, not just put three words together, but whole sentences and express things in a way that you can understand and answers your questions. And the same with online programs. You can tell when some are just throwing a lot of stuff at you to try to keep you interested and get your monthly payment. And then there are others that give you a good systematic program that answer your questions in some form or fashion and provide the materials that will support your learning. Now, with that said, I want to encourage you to be patient. Even the best instructor or the best online program cannot jump you from nowhere to playing your favorite song. And I see students all the time get frustrated because they want to play something fancy and they're not there. That's basically just like kicking yourself in the head. Oh, did I do that? We're adults, right? We've learned over the years that instant gratification isn't always what it's cracked up to be. Slow and steady is what you need here to win the race. Now, the next tip might be a little hard to swallow for some people. I get it's considered sometimes a little woo-woo, but believe me, it's not. In this case, it's very practical. I'm talking about paying attention to your attitude and your mental chatter, what you're saying to yourself all the time. Now, first of all older beginners, including myself, still go through this thing. Oh, I should have started sooner. Oh, I don't know if I can do this. Maybe I'm too old. And they're usually accompanied by feelings of inadequacy because it looks like you're behind the ball if you're just comparing ages to some of those young people that are ripping through the guitar. But here's the deal. You gotta just let it go. And that's the deal when you're learning something new, whether you're old or young. You gotta let go. Just let yourself be a beginner. You can rationalize it if it works for you. Hey, I'm doing something now, and I've spent my time earlier doing other things that were important to me, and now this is what I'm doing. But when push comes to shove, if you can develop an attitude of, when you hear this negative stuff in your head, just let it go and move on. you'll be a lot happier for it. At the same time, you gotta acknowledge it's a little scary learning something new. I mean, you're bound to start wondering, oh, can I really do this? Heck, I still go through this and I've learned so many different things. That's part of being a beginner. And it's okay to just feel awkward and even a little silly at times. Ultimately, you gotta develop some kind of faith that if other people have done this, I can do it too. And you don't have to know how it'll all turn out eventually. Matter of fact, you can't. There are things that you're gonna learn that you didn't know you were gonna learn. And there are things you thought you could do in this period of time that you can't. And there are things you'll be able to do that you never imagined you'd be able to do. It's an adventure. And you can't know how everything's gonna work out in an adventure. If you did, it wouldn't be an adventure. And finally, you gotta find ways to have fun and feel good about your guitar playing and your learning adventure. No, I'm not talking about the kind of fun, I'm happy kind of fun. I'm talking about a sense of inner enjoyment or a sense of satisfaction. I've done something. I'm doing something for myself. I couldn't do this a week ago, and look, it's working. You want to set small goals that are achievable, not wait until you can play some elaborate song, Stairway to Heaven back in my day, and if you don't get there, it's a failure. No, that's not gonna work. When you're first learning, you gotta go through a bunch of simple stuff. And as a matter of fact, you should, because that's how you get some of the basic technique that'll support you later on. If you skip over that stuff, even if you can play more complicated songs, you're probably not gonna ever play them well. You're gonna play them sloppy and with bad technique. Do the basic stuff and do it with gusto. Do it with enjoyment. Get yourself into it. One way that's kind of fun to make music with some of the basic stuff is play along with play-along tracks. That way, you not only get to hear it as kind of a fuller, more musical experience, but you're developing a rhythm, which a lot of guitar players kind of suck. I think it's fun sometimes just to track if I've completed one little section, or if you can make a checklist for yourself and say, I'm going to practice this for a week, and you did it and check it off. It's a little bit of satisfaction. What I do in my Real Guitar Success program is I give you a section with ways to check them off so you can see when you've accomplished it. Then a little congratulations at the end. You did it. But you can do that for yourself. Look for ways that you can make some enjoyment at the level that you're at, not wait until you get somewhere that you're not. If you can find a way to connect with others, that's a help. I'm not talking about somebody who's so much better than you and intimidates you, but people somewhere in your same range so you can kind of share struggles and show what you've done and they show you what they've done. Nowadays, that can work online too. I use a forum on my Real Guitar Success program so students can kind of connect with each other and show what each other's doing. The bottom line is keep looking for ways to find a sense of fulfillment in the little accomplishments. And little by little, they'll turn into bigger accomplishments. So that's it for today. I really appreciate you being here. Believe me, we are in this together. If you like what I'm doing, press that like button, subscribe to my channel, and leave me a comment, just anything. Let me know you're out there. This is day 25 of my 30 days of guitar coaching. I'll be back tomorrow with day 26. 26, woo! I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Bye for now.